Okay, guys, honestly though, what is your opinion on Faerie Island Drumpler?
I think Toe Jam
It
is pretty
was
good on the
Jumpler.
side.
Yeah, me too. What about Drumpler though?
I think Jump is
Jumpler
pretty good.
carries, but I still don't like it.
Listen, I always have been saying that Drumpler is like the most OP percussion on Faerie Island.
Yeah, because like one of only like two.
Yeah, and it's Faerie Island. If a snare drum was not the OP percussion, it wouldn't be Faerie Island.
Yeah, because then it would only be Sigrab.
Yeah, and
Nah, but
Sigreb is not a snare drum. And
He has a snare
Drumpler's
drum.
fat.
I think that Trumpler, when he plays his part and he's going snare drum noises, and the other monsters are like monster noises, I think that's just beautiful.
You see, look, I'm in complete agreement because Drumpler, he's there, he's playing, and everyone else is like, yes.
Dumpler. Dumpler.
He's got the perfect rhythm and pace for a folklore song.
I gotta say, his flams are fucking stupid.
His
That's all I have to say.
His flams.
He's
Yeah,
got
his Ned
flams.
Flanders.
Well, like,
But Drumpler's always been weird because it's like half the people think yeah it's OP, and then the other half of people are like nah, bro, this is ass.
that's because they think, oh, Drumpler can't do anything, and then he does do something, and people are like, no, he can't. I am blind. I do not see.
I
Trumpler will
cannot see,
never
no eyes.
be good. Trumpler be's good. Dumpler. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at Drumpler, dude. He's funny.
Dumpler is funny.
Drumpler's cool, but I'm not really impressed.
I like that Dumpler is fat.
This is definitely like Drumpler's best island.
Continent.
Party.
One of his best islands. Yeah, Drumpler on Party.
Listen, here's the thing. Drumpler is Drumpler on Cloud is the best one ever, but also Drumpler would be OP on Space if he did the thing in the outro.
Yeah, but this isn't about space. This is about Faerie Island.
Yeah, and I'm saying this isn't the best Drumpler.
Okay, it's one of though.
That's like
he has room to carry.
All right, but you know what monster this isn't the best island for?
Man,
Whimsies.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mammoth.
Aww.
this is easily Mammoth's worst island, and it's boring. It doesn't really do much, and it borderlines unlistenably bad.
It borderlines unlistenably.
Okay, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's unlistenably bad, but I don't think it's great at all.
It's listenable, but what's the point in listening to it when you could not be?
What's the point of listening to it when you can listen to Platy?
yeah, I was about to say, listen to it. I can't even hear it because Platy just does what it does and more.
And
Yeah.
also,
It has
Boskus kind of does
potential.
the same thing as well.
Mammoth is just complete. I don't know. I don't think he's. I won't say he's complete garbage. But again, this is easily the worst Mammoth of all time, and I don't think it's even possible for them to be. It's really weird because literally Mammoth on every other island is one of the best Mammoths of all time. It's like they're all Mammoth is always amazing and OP, and then he doesn't. It's not like, oh yeah, this is like a decent Mammoth, which is weird because he's normally OP. No, it's just a straight up terrible Mammoth just out of nowhere, and it sucks because it ruins the monster who used to have the perfect track record.
Yeah, it's like I remember you saying that's like one of the biggest downsides of Fair Island is that it makes Mammoth not OP, and it's the first island to do that.
Here's the Mammoth before Faerie Island was literally like it's stupid how amazing he is because literally like name a bad mammoth besides Fairy. Name any mammoth that's lackluster. Not only is he always like good, he's always like carrying. He's always doing either a melody or a counter melody. He's always being like super duper OP and like yeah, mammoth, mammoth, mammoth. And then this is like you can't say mammoth doesn't have. Mammoth never had only decent island. He's only been good or great, and this ruins that.
Only island I can think of where Mammoth's like not amazing is Tribal Island.
Even then, Mammoth on Tribal Island is still like one of the best things on Tribal Island, which isn't saying much.
Yeah, he's funny on Tribal Island.
Hey, he does no. The best thing about Mammoth on Tribal is that he does the funny hip sway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
no,
this
his
His
isn't
one he
hip
about.
just
sway
breaks
is
his
so
elbows.
hypnotizing.
But yeah,
Mammoth thighs.
It has very plump thighs.
Yeah, have you seen Backview Mammoth?
even then, bro, but you can't say that about Backview Mammoth because they nerfed his Backview recently. Remember?
Oh, you're right.
But hey,
And
who
it's gonna get in the
said
downfall.
nothing was a bad thing?
You know,
And
we just talked about Mammoth. We should talk about the monster that's just Mammoth, but again, aka
Deej
Boscus.
Boscus sucks.
again.
Boscus is
Nothing new.
blue.
This is Boscus. This is like
Boscus is blue.
this is probably Boscus's worst island yet.
Yeah, because at least on Oasis it was funny because it played throughout the whole verse. This is just bum 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 bum.
It's just actually garbage. It's not even worth discussing.
I don't
You
know.
can't hear it. You can't do anything with it. It is just a waste of a monster slot.
I don't understand what it is with BBB and just having monsters hold long notes.
Because they're fun.
They're fun, but like they're not interesting.
But they're
Yeah.
fun.
Because the monsters on this island, there's a lot of monsters on this island that are fun and interesting.
Yeah. And you know, I think I don't want to talk about Boscus. So let's talk about one of the more fun and interesting Noggin.
Noggin.
Again,
Noggin.
I don't even know where this monster plays.
I can't even remember what it does. All I know about Noggin is that he does the funny feet tapping thing.
Noggin is one of those monsters that you forget is on the island until it's on the island.
Can I say something about Noggin that you've been
Yes.
bugging me to say? Okay, Noggin's a lesbian. Alright, next monster. Which one are we doing?
10 out of 10, Pommy.
Yay.
Okay, we'll do.
I think I did that way too close to my microphone, and I apologize if I did.
You should hit the microphone.
Okay.
Honestly, this is. Honestly, this is since we're doing Deej now, and I think this is one of Deej's weakest islands.
Yeah. I didn't even recognize that he was on this island. He looking like he's pretty orange now.
Yeah, pretty orange and blue. He's got claws.
Yeah, it's a really bad place for Deej to be, you know?
Crab legs and a weird
His sound font on this island is complete garbage. He
Guys,
had
I
one
don't know
of
which
the
one you're talking about.
Ziggurat.
Yeah, he had one of the best percussion sound fonts in my opinion. Like it was kind of basic, but it was really memorable at least. But now instead they just switched that out for this really, really weirdly metallic one that like it doesn't like it's not even it changes to fit the island. This fits the island less than Ziggurat, but
Ziggurat is such a sad case in Dawn of Fire. Because, like, when it came out, it was OP on Continent. His percussion line on Continent was dummy OP, and I loved its rhythm. And then it went to Cloud, it was nothing because Deej drowned out. It went to Party, and it's like, yeah, it's OP, but you don't notice it. So when I heard that it was coming to Faerie Island, I was like, dude, is this gonna be Zigrab? He's coming back. It's the redemption story of a lifetime. He's finally gonna be OP. No.
Sounds like Rudy 2 again.
Yeah. And he's like, not even the same issue, because Rudy Toot was like, oh, they just kind of fucked up the sound font. But for me, the issue. No, with me, the issue with Zigra is just that it's like hella repetitive.
I mean, Ziggurat's kind of a repetitive monster everywhere, though.
Yeah, but on the other islands, the rhythm was simple, but like interesting. So you didn't really notice it being repetitive, but the rhythm on Faerie Island is so complex that you notice every single time it loops because it always ends with that freaking snare spam.
Yeah, and I was thinking back about it, and each of them, they have like simplistic ones, but they always last at least like the full like bar or whatever it'd be called, just like, cause like Party on just dum dum da 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 dum dum da, and that's when it loops. This one it just loops like, oh yeah, it's just really boring, and it's essential to the song. And again, the sound font just kills the monster. And like when you can confidently 100% say that a monster's sound on Party Island is better than its sound on a different island, that other island must not be having the brightest of days.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have fun with Candelabra then.
Wait. Off topic, but MSM should do anniversary monster costumes and Ziggurat's a cake. Anyways.
That's OP. Cause
Yeah, that should be for
Funny.
Feastember.
And then all the monsters eat him. That'd be funny.
No, Pommy, that's kind of messed up. You know, why would they eat Ziggurat?
Listen,
I'm
I can still
dark.
I can still confidently say that Continent is the best Ziggurat.
Yeah,
Ziggurat's a funny crab.
You know what's another percussion monster that's barely anything?
We've taught what other
Squat.
Squat.
No, don't believe
forgot he was on this island at all.
Squat's design is amazing.
Squat design and
everything...
animation wise is
I want to eat the playfit. He looks like a jelly bean.
I thought you hated beans.
Huh?
She likes jelly beans.
I do?
I thought you
said I do.
Listen. His sound is actually nothing.
It'd be more if he didn't only play in Whimsy verse first half.
Wow. This is clearly
He's got an OP rhythm too.
He's got the juice, but they just like he drank it
Grilled
all.
it.
It's diet.
Diet juice.
Diet.
Squat is pretty much entirely saved by the fact that his design and animations are like the best on Faerie Island. But besides like a couple.
Even then, you look at the list, and even then, people are like, "Oh right, I forgot Squat was on this island."
Yeah.
Listen, I was excited about Faerie Island because I wanted to talk about how much I liked Squat as a monster. On Faerie Island, it's like kind of mediocre, but as a monster, Squat is OP.
I mean, that's fair.
He's just a funny, upside-down mushroom, disgusting gremlin man.
Hold on a minute. A mushroom?
Weed.
No, Ryan, that's too controversial. We have to do that later. Okay, we gotta save it.
Fine, let's talk about...
I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about mushroom. Seems a little bit like a ripoff of Mantis Boy, don't you think? They did Hypno Island, and then right after Hypno Island, they do Mushroom Monsters. I think BB's running out of ideas.
Yeah, and then after that, they did
Weed. They did a lot.
Weed Island.
Oh, Bone Island is.
Bone Island is just original Upbeat Island because it's Upbeat Island is bare bones.
Nah, that's not the case. It's listen, Rubber Island is wait. Okay, Bone Island is actually just Rubber Island when the rubber element looks like a crossbones.
What?
Listen, if you take Rubber Island, remove all the Rubber Island monsters, and
Yeah, that's flawless logic. We're getting
My
off topic.
favorite part is Bone.
Anyway,
okay,
Squat's mediocre. Next monster.
No,
Bridget.
I go.
Bridget being finally bringing in
Bridget
one of
is
the
dumb.
highly requested instruments in the MSM, being the kalimba, and it does a kalimba really well in my eyes.
I really
Yeah, but
wish
too bad it
they.
gets overshadowed.
Yeah,
Not with headphones.
I really wish they saved the kalimba for Bone Island so they could have made Skulimba.
You're so right,
You're
dude.
so
You're
right.
Listen,
or
Bridget-
Kalimbones.
you know you're right. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think, honestly speaking, I think Bridget is kind of not the best thing ever because like its first track is amazing and like it's a great composition and it plays in. The problem is its first track is its only track. It's like, yeah, it's like they turned on the car and then they're like, okay, that's it, and they just stopped. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? They, it so clearly needs a second track. It so clearly needs that first verse to be extended more so it can just finally start just driving off. But it doesn't get the chance to do that. And then afterwards, for every other verse, you can't hear it at all because you got Flute Fly and Kana and Platy and every other monster on the planet just all playing at once.
Yeah.
So Bridget would be OP McOP if it wasn't for the fact that it just gets cucked to the next dimension.
Nah, listen. This is like a theme with Faerie Island, but it may not be that impactful in the song, but Bridget's design is stupid OP. I love its design.
He's just a goblin.
It's old.
Man.
She's
Old
a
people.
freaking troll with weird ass gangly spider arms.
I like the name. The name.
Yeah, the name is still OP. And another thing that Bridget has that I think is really good in its favor is the sound font for it is really good.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a Kalimba, so that's good.
Yeah, and Kalimbas are great.
Again, I think the biggest problem with Bridget is like, if this is the biggest problem with almost all of the fairy monsters or almost all the monsters on Fairy Island. It's just like they've got all the juice. Like their sound is good, their animation is good, their name is good, their design is good, their composition is complete garbage and cucks them over to the next dimension. And you can't even do anything with it. It's like, oh wow, that monster exists. I guess I never noticed it was in the song because it gets cucked. And that's Bridget's a prime example of that.
Are there any other monsters on this list that kind of get cucked?
Basically
Okay.
everything. I'd say honestly everything else on this list except for like two more.
Because, like, I think we only got, like, the major hitters left, except for, like, maybe one. So I'm gonna do that one, and then it's, like, all of the important stuff
On
on
this,
this
listen,
island.
I think a huge number of monsters on this island get cucked by that lack of a second track.
The only other monster on this list that, like, isn't as important to the song's composition is Flute Fly. So, what do y'all think about Flute Fly?
Dan, did
I
you
think
want
it's
continent?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
the
think it's
funny
orange.
returning. They finally brought Flute Fly into the game, guys. Remember
I
how
really
big that
like
was when it
Flute
came out?
Fly for one reason. It's the mask, but
Yeah.
it's a darn that it was shown what it looks like without it with the sprite stuff.
Yeah, he's green, bro. I am green! Exclamation
yeah, I am
mark.
green.
I am
I
green.
think I think that his animation and design once again are great, especially his sleeping animation. It's very charming. But like this is like he's close to the other monsters when it comes to cuck level, except it's more kind of gets like he kind of cucks himself over because his
I mean,
that much at all. The sound font is fine, but it's really, really basic and boring. Just notes, and that's it.
He's a pan flute. You don't really notice pan flutes unless it's built around them.
It's not like you can't notice pan flutes. Listen, I don't think just you can't. I don't think it's a good excuse ever. Just be like, nah, bro, it's okay that he does nothing because he does nothing. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean he can't do anything. Like, I don't think that choirs are usually supposed to be things that you like, take melody and then whimsies.
Ugh. Is that our transition into whimsies?
No, I'm
Alright, good, because I'm not done with Flute Fly.
saying like that's just an yeah, I think Flute Fly would be cool. Once again, he gets really cucked out of having an extended or second track, but he doesn't have that, and it's not as big of a cut because his composition could have been a lot better if it wasn't the most basic thing on the entire island. But yeah, whimsies.
What about you, Ryan? Do you have any opinion on Flute Fly?
I mean, it's simple. I mean, come on, Ducky's a one element. It's not like he's meant to be the most amazing thing ever.
Mammoth.
And then there's a one element that's the best monster on this island.
If you bring up the one element thing, I'm just gonna say Mammoth on Plant Island and Cold Island and Air Island and Earth Island and every other island he's on except this island.
I know, but it's Flute Fly.
Clacula, literally Clacula.
Okay, but you listen to the song right now with how cluttered and bloated it is. How in God's name would Flute Fly work if it didn't do what it did now?
If it just went full out and had a
If the song had a
second
better
half of its notes.
structure?
Yeah, listen, here's the thing. If you compose a song that only works with two monsters, you can't say, bro, it's this monster's fault. You gotta say it's the song's fault for sucking so bad, and maybe they should have made it better.
I mean, that's true, but
Listen, I think Flute Fly is a really, really important monster when it comes to MSM history, and they kind of really, really messed up its big introduction by making it just Dandidu on the continent, except only the first half of Dandidu on the continent and did nothing else with it, when it so clearly could have done a lot more.
yeah.
Like, imagine if they brought Mimic back, and their big debut of Mimic is just it, like just
Cave
it
Island.
being the recordings. It's like saying, yeah, it's Mimic, and we're gonna do Mimic the way it was supposed to be, and it's just the recording studio. It's like, wow, that's nothing. And that's what they're doing to Flute Fly, because he might as well be the recording studio. Because if you use the recording studio on him and replace the sound, it'd probably sound better.
I don't know about that.
That means the recording studio has to work.
Because then you notice Flute Fly's melody against Platy's, and you're like, I mean, I don't think they really work together that well.
Yeah, but if you just use the recording studio, you could make it be something better, like Silence.
Dipster.
Yeah, Dipsters.
Yeah, Dipsters. Speaking of Dipsters, let's talk about the monster that's just like Dipsters. The one just like Dipsters, Whimsies. Because
No,
there's four
the
of them.
ones with like Dipsters. A melody that's funny on its own, but sucks in the context of the full song. Dipsters would be Clavinet.
Clavinet is straight up garbage.
Listen, I'm
easy worst monster.
heavy biased because I love Clavinet. I understand that it's bad in the song, but I still love Clavinet.
I remember I got Faerie Island. I'm like, I am getting Faerie Island. And then I have all the monsters. I'm like, bro, this is sounding pretty cool so far. I placed down Clavinet. I'm like, bro, Clavinet monster, that's going to be the most OP thing ever. And then I hear this like, hold on. Why is there a fly buzzing in my ear? And why am I having a horrible experience? And then I hear the off chord, the annoying nothingness, nothing that is Clavinet.
Yeah, but he do the funny spin.
I think I think he has the worst animation on Faerie Island because it's really, really clunky and hard to tell what's happening, and there's so much to look at once, and it's like it's confusing and it's not fun to look at.
I mean, it's
So I think
supposed to be confusing. Oh,
yeah, but
I don't like Clavinet for one reason, and that's because I was just listening to Clavinet normally, like without everything else, just like the individual sound. And the sound just sent me out of reality. I'm
It
not.
sent me.
No, like, it just, like, it casted me out of the real world for like 10 minutes, and I didn't know where I was. And that's why I don't like clavinet.
Yeah, clavinet and his interdimensional properties. Not kind to viewers.
Not kind of me viewing it.
It's
Yeah,
just that kind of sound just messed with my head.
yeah.
The
I
sound
think
is funny. It doesn't mean it's good though. It's just rising and lowering
it's like
scales.
I like the idea what it's going for the design. I feel like it wasn't executed well though, and then the animation is one of the clunkiest things ever. Its sound is like I know people say it's funny, but honestly, I think it's really really basic and really really boring. It's just do 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 do. It's like wow,
I
that
think
sounds
the
like
biggest
that sounds like
sin of clavinet is how god awfully they underutilized a clavinet, which is like a dummy,
like
stupid
one of the
OP
best
instrument.
instruments ever,
Like if you
and they
want
made it.
good clavinet, Shroom Island Vectus when that comes out, that's dummy OP. That's how you do a clavinet right. Freaking clavinet wishes he was Vectus right now.
Clavinet, I love the way his sound. I love his sound font. His sound font is a really cool clavinet sound font, and it's one of my favorite kinds of sounds of all time. But that just makes it even worse when the OP sound is the one that's completely garbage in the song, because it's like that is disappointing and garbage. And like we haven't even talked about his arrangement in the song yet.
I wish he looked like a gnat.
I mean, yeah, he named after a gnat, and he looks like a mutated pear.
Hee pear. Funny pear.
The only thing I
Hiccup.
like about him is
But
the entire upside down thing, like with his mouth and not able to tell which way is right side up.
Yeah, but Dentures just did that better.
yeah,
True.
Dude, Densha. I can't wait to do
We're
both.
not.
squishy.
Yeah, his arrangement in the song is
Uh,
the worst arranged thing on this entire island, easily by a long shot.
he does
Because
not play
the
well
rest of the
with
song,
Platy.
like, the rest of the song is happening. It's like, oh yeah, it's a normal song. It's happening like songs are supposed to, because normally the melody comes in and it tries to work with the other melodies around it. But this one was like, yeah, I'm gonna take melody and then I'm not gonna be a melody. It'd be like if something took a melody and it just played one note the entire time. Why? What's the point?
I don't see the point in the monster even existing at all. Cause like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a counter melody, but no, like you can't hear me, and there's no point in hearing me because I'm just noise. But then there's more noise because Platy.
And
Literally,
fruit fly.
but I want to mix it the way I would do it, just with remixing it and just changing the mixing. Uh, for clavinet, I'd mix it by like turning it to 0 volume, and then I'd be all good, and the song works just as fine without him.
Alright, we got pretty good things from this point forward. I don't think there's anything abysmally bad after claving that.
Yeah, we really just talked about all the bad things in a row.
Yeah, because I like saving the good things for last because I still like Faerie Island.
Wait, but why are you saving the good things for last? What do you mean? This doesn't make sense. How could you be saving the good thing for last when you haven't talked about Platy yet? Isn't Platy an F tier monster according to everyone's tier
Alright,
list?
you know what? We're talking about Platy now. I don't give a crap if the sound font is bad. The sound font being bad makes Platy better. I love Platy as a monster. I love its sound. It's funny. The only complaint I have is the complaint Abed has been making forever, and that's the fact that Platy should have had a second track.
I think Platy should have had 3 tracks.
I would have been fine with that. I think Platy is a really good monster, and it may just be my Scottish showing since I am really Scottish heritage, but like bagpipes are OP, and they did a bagpipe perfectly.
He's orange.
He is orange, or not orange, orange.
I think with
Orange.
Platy, due to how much of a controversial take this is and how much like people seem to hate Platy, I think we should like talk about the kinds of points people make against Platy and then talk about why we think.
I don't know the points people make about Platy, so I'll need you to enlighten me on that.
Well, one of the things that I see a lot of people that I've seen some people complaining about for some reason is saying its composition isn't like it doesn't make sense with the instrument,
It's
and
half and half.
that's a big fat no because it literally does what a bagpipe does. It has
It
the
has the
long hard
bladder.
notes at the bottom, and then
Yeah.
it has the nice like faster, more like melody notes in the top, and it's just like OP.
And it has its bladder, which plays the low notes, and it's also you can even see him sucking in air to fill the bladder, which is actually very accurate to real bagpipes. And then it's got the tubes, which the only thing that kind of is iffy about it is that bagpipes usually only have like 3 to 2 tubes and not like
Yeah.
7.
Even then, that's not part of the composition. That's just the design. And I think with design choices, doing stuff like that is part of the fun. You know, it's. I think it's like if people are seriously complaining about three, I think that's when they should go get a license.
Yeah, like Platy, the way they designed Platy to be a bagpipe, and like especially, I don't know, I keep coming back to it, but the way they incorporated the bladder of a bagpipe into Platy's design is like super creative, and I love it.
No, but he's ugly. He doesn't look like a quad.
I don't care if he doesn't look like a quad. He's literally the most fairy creature you could possibly think of. Nothing gets more fairy than Scottish fucking bagpipes.
He
What
looks
about an
like an
actual fairy?
octopus.
An actual fairy is not as fairy as Scotland because Scotland invented folk tales and shit, basically.
Yeah, Scotland's like the big like this island is basically just Scotland Island, and there's nothing more Scottish than bagpipes. And like, yeah, you could say, oh, bro, his design could like not. Oh, his design looks too simple for a quad, but like, what else are you supposed to do with it? You can't change the color scheme, or else that ruins the monster. You can't change the animation because why would you want to? That's the most OP thing ever. Like, how are you gonna make this look more like?
The only way they could make the quad better for like a fairy island is by making it like a unicorn, in which case it would still be Scottish anyway, so.
And even then, I feel like listen, I feel like create monsters are more creative when they're not based on just random animals. Like, bro, a unicorn is the obvious route, and I think that's kind of boring the route. So they took the more unique route, and like, yeah, maybe it doesn't look as much like a quad. Well, I don't really care that much. Is like because I think it does its job perfectly in every other sense to the point where I can like I'm someone who advocates very very heavily for monsters matching the amount of elements they have. But if a monster is so perfectly executed in every other way to where you could not change that without ruining the monster, then what am I supposed to do? I can just say all I can do is just say, yeah, bro. Who cares if it doesn't look as much like a quad? And the worst complaint is probably like, bro, the sound font. Like, what do you expect me to do? Get a genuine bagpipe? But listen, I don't know what's more expensive, buying a bagpipe sound font or buying a real life bagpipe, because they're both almost impossible to get your hands on good quality ones. And I think the fact it's a super dumb synth one is funny.
The thing with bagpipes is like getting a good bagpipe sound font is like getting a good kazoo sound font. It's just not gonna happen. They don't exist because bagpipes heavily depend on like actual performer.
Alright, bringing up kazoo was a literal whack idea because bagpipes cost like thousands of dollars and a kazoo
No, but
costs
I'm
$2.
saying people complain that the sound font is bad. I'm saying
Yeah, and they're lame.
Yeah, and you can't find a good kazoo sound font, which is what the point that he's making.
And
If
again,
you
like our good friend Drink always says, Platy being a bad sound font makes him 10 times funnier, which makes him 10 times better.
True.
It fits
use
the
monsters
theme
in
for
MSM,
Faerie Island.
and it's perfect. Like honestly, literally, when it comes to actual issues with Platy, I literally only have like one big suggestion, and that's the arrangement. Again, he should have had two more tracks. I think he should have, the one he has, that should have been his second track. I think his first track should have been the sound, but with only the low notes, so it can be like the song's building up. You know, that's the intro, just the da da da, and then da 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 da, da. And the second, the third track would be like the same thing again, but like with a different melody. So it's like the way most songs, it's da 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 da, something like that. Just something simple. You do whatever they want, but they just like to change it up in the second half.
What about you, Ryan? You haven't really said anything about Platy yet.
I have one little criticism about Platy. I say a little, but it impacts the whole song. Platy, like the song
Loud.
is so not loud. It's so like it needs Platy in order for the song to exist, and that's like a problem because when you don't have Platy, what is the song? Clavinette.
Flimsies.
So the fact that the song heavily relies on Platy in order
Yeah,
for
I
the
just
song to sound listenable is bleh.
well, I
Yeah,
think
that's
again
fair.
that's more so a problem of maybe deciding to just say, hey, what if we had our OP melody monster that makes the song listenable become just chord fodder with Mammoth? If they didn't do that, it would be a different case. But that's Mammoth's fault, not Platy's fault. You can't blame Platy for having to carry because everyone else sucks.
Platy is reverse Plinkaju.
Yeah, pretty much.
The song is too heavily reliant on him.
I think a good problem, if your problem is that you're too OP, I think that's a good problem to have.
That's fair. Especially if you're supposed to be the quad.
Yeah. But, listen, here's the thing. Speaking of OP monsters that could really use a second track, let's talk about Kana.
Kana might be the best monster on the song.
Kana is probably definitely the best monster on this island, composition-wise at
Kana's
least.
funny, yeah.
Kana does what quads are supposed to do, and it comes in and it just like completely changes up the song. And it's a single element.
Yeah. The only issue with Kana is the fact it's not
It's not what?
that again, because it kind of covers up what?
It's not what you cut out on my end, sorry.
Oh, I said the issue with Kana isn't even an issue with Kana, it's an issue with Clavinat because Clavinat covers up Kana.
I remember when Faerie Island came out, Ryan always adamantly did not like Faerie Island, but even he was always like, yeah, Kana's pretty good.
Yeah, Kana is the best monster, like hands down.
Kana is just always a good monster. And it's got hiccups like Fire Haven, but usually Kana's a really good monster.
I think Kana's better miss, to be honest, because Psychic Island and Fire Haven and
Party. Yeah, but are there any other bad Kanas besides those three?
No.
The worst
There's
thing
three
about the worst thing about Kana is the fact that we have to sit with it for the rest of Magical Islands until they do something different.
But even then, there's only one more.
True.
But yeah, Kana is super duper 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 OP on this island. One of the best melodies in MSM overall. And I think
I guess another bad thing you could
is that
say about Kana is
sorry.
that they just turned it into like Bisonorous but girl.
Yeah, that's true. But even then, they're fixing that with the new islands.
Hopefully. Let's hope they
Well,
stick
Bone
to it.
Island's already a step in the right direction.
That's true. And whatever they do for the fourth Magical Island, I'm sure will be good.
Yeah, it's hard to mess up Kana too badly. Yeah. I think the only real issue I have with Kana is not even a real issue. It's like the only complaint I could even have for Kana on this island is once again I think it could use a second,
Yeah,
so
true.
it does the same thing, but with something else different at the end. Like the way I always watch it is like dum diddly dum 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 dum. I think that could be OP, but they haven't really just done anything with like that. That's just something that they just don't do on Fairy Island for some reason, and it's easily, in my opinion, Fairy Island's weakest point.
Yeah. I don't know why they did it. It's probably just because, like, they felt like it wasn't necessary or something.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, if they fixed that issue, I would consider Fairy Island.
Alright,
For me is so glaring that it's like I find it hard to enjoy the island that much.
now we gotta talk about the other fire hybrid that's always OP on every island. Or it's
Oh,
almost OP on every island, and that's Stog.
Whimsies.
No, Stug. We're doing Stug. Screw you.
Yeah.
Stog is honestly. Listen, you say almost. I name a single island where Stog is not top three.
Uh,
I'm doing the cross my arms YouTuber pose because you're not gonna have an answer, and I'm gonna. If you do have an answer, I'm gonna shoot you down because it's not gonna be right.
Bone Island second track. That's it. That's all I can think of.
You saying that's not OP?
I was saying it's like I don't know. I can't ever hear it, so I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But even then, that's like, yeah. Okay, obviously, but his second track is not going to be the top three tracks on Bone Island. But the Monster overall, just his first track alone on Bone carries him into the top three.
True.
On Party Island, he's OP. Stog on Party Island is like makes Party Island almost worth listening to. Space OP. He's not anywhere else in Dawn of Fire. MSM1
Oh, you cut out.
Psychic Island, he's not on there. And then yeah, Fairy Island, which is where we're at. He's super duper OP.
Stog is just like one of the. Stog is the mammoth of fire hybrids.
Dog is the mammoth of double elements.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh, that means we have to have one bad Stog Island eventually. But I don't even think
Well,
that's possible.
that's too bad because Bone was his last island for a long time, probably.
Oh.
He went off with a bang though.
Dude, he went off
Yeah.
the thing.
Anyways, we're talking about every Stog except this one. So let's talk about Fairy Stog.
The Stog is OP.
Yeah, but we gotta explain it.
Is there even anything else we can say about Stog at this point? It's like, it's carried by the sound font. Arpeggiated chords are always interesting. It plays in the perfect spots. It's a funny looking monster. It is pleasing to listen to. It goes with the song really well, and it plays with Platy really well.
Yeah, but what about its second track where in the Whimsies verse where it does the cool transition thing into the next verse after that? And that puts him top three. No, that puts him like top 0.
Yeah, he's stupid OP in the Whimsies verse, like the it's like again, it's like doing the first half thing, except it actually meets up with the second half being different and the
Yeah.
bro, big brain levels. It's the obvious thing to do, but it's so OP, McOP. And honestly, it's like it makes it hard to put Kana at number one when Stog exists.
It's these fire monsters, dude. Fire monsters are great.
He's dummy OP and he's fire like a fire monster. And he makes my love for MSM spark like a wafflin.
Alright, the last there are like the three big new fairy monsters. They're
Yeah,
like,
bro, I just realized we literally went this basically until now. We just have not at all talked about that entire verse, which is like the only verse that makes Fairy Island really, really worth listening to because that verse is OP.
yeah. I feel like you know what I know what we should save for last.
Yeah, and that should be hippity hop. So we're talking about whimsies.
Alright, we'll finally talk about Whimsies. Female chorus is really pleasant to listen to, but it's way fucking repetitive.
I mean, it may
I
be
feel like it is
repetitive,
second track.
but it works.
It works, but I just wish there
But
was
it
a
could
little
use a
better.
second track.
It definitely could have done a second track.
What's it supposed to be?
It's funny balloons. It's Into the Night Garden balloons.
Oh,
Listen, I think it should have had a second track where it goes way, 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 way.
No. Yeah, then it just plays over top of Platy.
Wait, Platy doesn't even play in that verse.
Yeah, but that plays
Yeah,
at the end of that verse, so it leaks into the next verse.
exactly. Listen, I think that Whimsies is a great monster, slightly overrated. But their design is really cool. Like I really like their design, honestly, 'cause it's like again pretty basic, but still really cool. Their sound could have been better, but for what they are, they're good for what they are, and they're like probably the monster that handles the need for a second track the best because it needs it, but it can easily work without it, and especially because of
Yeah.
plays.
I like how even though BB said it's not intentional, all of the balloons are basically Pom cousin balloons. Like that's such a pleasant coincidence because you got the pink, the yellow, the blue, and the green one. And it gives me hope that they are gonna stop doing pom pom cousins after that.
You're right. I really, really like their design, honestly. Like, I know what you said,
It's such an out there
the
design, but
legs sticking out at the bottom is so cool.
it's like such an abstract design, but it works really well. Though, just the structure, even their animation adds to the fact that they're hot air balloons because they're swaying and they're when they bump each
Yeah.
other, their reaction is less severe because they're just floating around.
Whimsy's weakest point is not even Whimsy's fault, it's just the fault of all magical two elements, is that, like, it doesn't really perfect.
Isn't what?
Yeah, fire, because hot air balloons. But I feel like the fact they're balloons is enough to makes it more sense for them to have air. But also, at the end of the day, like, that's just the most bare bones, dumbest complaint, because I'd rather have monsters that represent fairy than that represent their elements perfectly.
Yeah.
But I do think like that's like the only thing that you could really like. That's like the only nitpick you could make about them.
I guess.
Okay, now
Listen, I want to
personal
talk.
favorite monster on the time.
Yeah, I want to talk about Abed's favorite monster on this island and like the best personality monster on Faerie Island, Hippity Hop.
Hippity Hop is. I feel like people sleep on Hippity Hop so hard because he is easily in every way the best like unpitched vocal monster so far.
Dude, Shrub wishes it could be Hippity Hop.
Shrub wishes.
yeah.
It's so funny. It's the most MSM thing of just ow ow.
Nice.
And like the fact that they just straight up just had just recorded it and then had one pitch down really bad and then like one pitch all the way down and one pitch all the way up. It's so dumb and it shouldn't work, but it works perfectly and it fits their design perfectly and their design is so stupid but it works so well too.
their design was funny, and then when I found out they're symbiotically connected, their design became like 50 times better because there's no reason for them to look like that if they're symbiotically connected. But they're inherently such a stupid monster that it adds to the charm.
Exactly. It's like Boscus on continent levels of just bro, that's so stupid and it's so amazing and it shouldn't work, but I'm so glad that it works.
Its animation is also dummy OP.
Oh yeah, especially like the sway that the bottom one does, like with its arm
Yeah, it's really, really well
sway.
animated. And unlike monsters like freaking Flute Fly, Hippity Hop has the sauce to back up its animation.
Exactly. And then like here's the thing, like I think something about its design that I always think about is the fact that it looks like Strimes drew it, but like it's the opposite issue. Like with a lot, my one of my biggest complaints about things like whenever I compare things, oh, it looks like or sounds like someone else made it in the community. Is like usually it's a big negative because like, bro, it means it's so low quality. Some person in the community can make it like things like, yeah, the Celestials on Celestial Island look like Sebas or some random person just drew. It's like boring. But with this, like, it looks like Strimes designed it, and like, but instead of making it worse, it just adds to the charm. Saying, "Bro, I don't know how to describe it, but it adds so much to the charm because it makes it look like anyone could have the idea, but only BBB could execute it. Because yeah, it looks like something that Strimes could design, but BBB drew it, and it's like, oh, it's like a
Yeah.
fan letter. It's almost like a letter to the fans rather than stealing from the fans.
That's what
The
Faerie
love,
Island always felt like to me. It very felt inherently like fan made, but professionally fan made.
yeah. Fans saying, "Yeah, we appreciate you," rather than being like Celestia was like, "Yeah, it's a love letter to the fans." And by that, I mean we're just gonna take they're just gonna steal from the fans.
What about you other two? You haven't really been talking about Hippity Hop that much.
What else is there to say? They're OP and funny. My favorite duo.
What about you, Oh, Ryan, your favorite duo?
I don't even want you to mention their names.
We could be a duo.
Alright, hold on.
That's
Before we do that, Pommy, do you have anything to say about Hippity Hop?
okay.
I'm gonna take that as a no. Anyway, it's time to talk about the last monster on Faerie Island, the fan favorite monster on Faerie Island, the one I know everyone is waiting in anticipation for us to talk about. And you know what? I'm gonna let Ryan take it away because I know for a fact Ryan's got some pretty cool opinions about these monsters.
Yeah, I tell you what. Cantarell is the best vocal ever. Its vocal performance is unpeaked. It's definitely not something literally any other vocal. You can just slap it on and then people like, yeah, that's that monster. No, funny mushroom, ha. He goes, whoa, no, and that's the best thing ever. Whoa, top number one. He's the best. Yeah, fan favorite. Thousands of fan art, thousands of wooing Twitter posts. Really? This is your monster that you're gonna rave over? It's so basic. It's just Potbelly, but you give it different things. Instead of bound out, you give it Wimmy Wodo. You slap it on, and then suddenly, oh my god, oh, big brain blast, best monster. Really? No, it's good. It fills in the verse for the second time, but it's not the best thing I've ever heard in my life. It's you gas it up way more than it deserves, dog.
I think Kantaro is like easily one of the most overrated monsters in MSM history. Like I'd say even more so than Pom Pom.
Yeah. Can't I'm gonna just say this from now. Cantarell. Cantarell. We think Cantarell is very useful on the island. That doesn't mean just because it's good doesn't mean that it deserves all the praise it gets. We're not saying no one's hating on Cantarell. What we're saying, what all that Ryan's saying is that he's super duper duper overrated to the nth degree, and doesn't really make that much sense.
Kantaro is just really only personality. Like, yeah, its sound is funny, but the only thing I really like about the sound is like how the main head kind of has like this 1920s radio man feel to it. I like the voice that the main head has because it sounds really snazzy to me. But then, like in the full song, it's like kind of okay.
I think Cantrell is a great monster, and I love I love the monster. I love how it sounds. It's like perfect for the verse. That verse is one of the few, and honestly, I'd say it's one of the few perfect verses because everything just flows together smoothly. But it's not because one's working together perfectly, and that's what MSM is. It's not one monster carrying everything. It's Cantarell taking the melody for a bit and then passing it on to the and then Stogs doing the perfect support, and then Wendy's filling the dead air, and everyone's coming together to do a perfect job and make a verse perfect.
And then
It's not just Cantarell.
yeah, but and then everyone just always talks about Cantarell and like, yeah, it's
Okay.
Cantarell. Wow.
No one gives Hippity Hop love, even though he carries the verse just as much as Cantarell does, and just as much as Stog does, and just as much as Whimsy does.
Like, I think people are going to be upset to hear this, but looking at Fair Island now, Cantrell isn't even gonna break top 3.
Oh, easily not, because like, how can it when Stog and Kana and
Platy.
maybe Hippity Hop? Not Platy. Platy's great, but Platy's great. Honorable mentions, but like I think his issues are glaring enough to be like, okay, yeah, not top 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Basically,
There are
Cantrell,
only two.
yeah, Cantrell is
I
good,
think.
but it is
I think
the most overrated monster in the game.
there are. I'm going to say this from now. I think there are only two reasons people like Cantarell. One, whoa, bro, haha, funny, and two, because it has the news effect on it. That's the only reason people like it. Because like, it's like whenever I think of Canterbury, it's just like a dumb comparison, but all it does is make me think of like the one character from Has Been
Yeah, me too. I
this
was
exact
gonna
same
say
scenario where they're the
that.
most popular character because they have that same effect. It's literally the only reason he's super popular is because he has the news reporter effect. That's the only reason. Just that's like the 40s news reporter.
Yeah. And like I can
I don't think
understand why, but
I don't think it's bad. I think it's amazing. I think it's a good thing, but it's the only reason people love it so much because everyone just for some reason has a hard on for 40s news reporters.
there's also a little bit of the design. But even then, when it comes to design, no one, not literally, design wise, no one gives a shit about the right head. It's always the left head.
Honestly, I feel like with Cantarell, to be honest, like I feel like I'd like it more if instead of having the entire bro, it has the eyes but they're white thing. I'd like it better if they just had like no pupils at all and it was just only the eyeball itself. I think I'd like
Yeah.
that better. That's a small nitpick, but I think that'd be cooler and more interesting.
Oh, me too. Cantarell's alright. It's pretty good.
Thing with it being based on fairy circle.
Oh yeah, there's also that. But even then, fairy circles are all over the place on Fairy Island.
That's true.
Like you don't need a monster for that. And even then, in game, it doesn't show anything about fairy circles. It's just like a mention. And for something that important to fairy folklore, I feel like if it's going to be fairy circles, it should have been more.
That's fair. Honestly, Cantarell probably
Cantrell.
the most basic, obvious. Like all the other fairy island monsters are like super duper subtle ideas. While Cantarell is just, bro, it's mushroom because mushrooms are in every fairy thing, and that's all it is. And like, there's nothing wrong with doing a mushroom monster. I think it's a great idea.
Because
I just
what?
think that, yeah, exactly. I just think that like it's like definitely could have had more thought into put into it, and it could have been a more unique design, especially like with like I don't think the design is bad. The design is added like they could have put a little bit more spice on it and it really could have been had a more thought out bio that isn't just bro wall fairy circle haha get it because those are in fairy when you look it up on google.com and that's it.
Yeah, so
That's Faerie Island.
that's Fairy Island. Opinion on the full thing.
Bland, decent, okay. Not
I
something I would go out of my way to listen.
when Fairy Island came out it was super mega
Fairy Island
days
is.
it's super mega underrated because people for some reason seem to hate this island is I think the island is harmless. I just think like the only thing you could hate about it is the potential that it missed out on. But I think the song itself is a good song. It's just like I'm not gonna be listening to it that often because I've got better islands to listen to, like Bone Island.
I think the thing is like Fairy Island really is like the generally okay of the magicals, people were really hyped for it because it was coming off the heels of Psychic Island. So, compared to Psychic Island, this song is a freaking Mozart symphony. And then after Faerie Island, we got Bone Island, which is generally one of the best islands in the entire game. So, compared to Bone Island, this is a freaking
Okay, but listen,
modern
Olivia,
rap song.
You say that, but you gotta remember, uh, Party Island came out. Do you know what the next island to come out after Party Island was?
What?
It was Celestial Island. It was Celestial. Celestial was the island after Party.
Celestial Island or Starhenge?
Celestial Island. Starhenge came before Party.
Oh.
So, so I can see your point, but also we've had something where it's been. I think, okay, Party Island has probably had the worst reception out of any island ever, and then it came out in 2016, and after a 2-year wait, yeah, Celestial Island.
Oh boy, I can't wait to do
I think there's
Celestial
more so people
Island.
are. I think it was more so people were caught up in the hype of magical monsters because magical monsters are like such cool idea. Because just 8 new monsters this soon. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, bro, I miss that. I miss having a bunch of new monsters and not just having one new monster every 7 years like in Dawn of Fire.
yeah. But Fairy Island as itself, it's like it's an above average song, but there's nothing special to like really make it stand out. It's if I could explain it, it's not like Cave Island because Cave Island had the incredible highs and then it had like the really bad lows. Fairy Island, it doesn't have any of those bad lows, but it also doesn't have any of those like really big highs. But I consider them around similar quality. Fairy Island is definitely lesser, but I'd rate them similarly.
Rating them out of 10.
Out of 10, I'd rank Fairy Island like a 6 or a 7.
What about you, Ryan?
Shoot, wait. Give it a 6.
I also give it a 6.
And I think Pommy is no longer with us, and I'm just going to ask her after the recording ends, and it's probably going to be a 6.
I'm gonna guess a 5. That's my. Either way, it'll round up to a 6.
Yeah.
So wait, that would wait.
That would definitely place it above Gold Island. So it would get
Oh,
into B tier.
oh yeah. It, wait, what tier was Gold on? Was it in C tier or B tier?
Top of C. Or no, wait,
Oh,
no, it was top of B.
huh.
So yeah, Fairy will get into A, but it's going to be like bottom A. It would have been higher if Whimsy's went way away, 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 away.